Well, that's what you call a great start. Just as Donald Trump arrived in China to kick off his pivotal summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping, the world leader also managed to insult and humiliate Trump before talks even began. If you worry about how Trump's tariffs and the ongoing Iran war have damaged American prestige worldwide, or if you worry that a leader as cunning and intelligent as President Xi would easily steamroll a cognitively declining, wheezing orange gas bag, you will want to see this. That's coming up next here on The David Reddish Show. Welcome to the show, my beautiful viewers, and happy X-Men Day. I am your host, and as the gay Magneto myself, I brought along my little helmet as an accent. No, I'm not wearing it because hair, people. But let's get into our story. As you may know, Donald Trump set off this morning for China to hold a grand summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping to discuss future collaborations between our two nations. Trump was supposed to head to China earlier this week, but the ongoing mess that is the Iran war delayed him. Real classy, Taco. And the worst part? There are some major stakes for this summit between our two nations. NBC has a little rundown.
We are here in China ahead of that historic summit between President Trump and China's leader, Xi Jinping. A key face-to-face meeting that could help shape the rest of the president's term and his legacy. And as the U.S. seeks to end the war in Iran, what role will China play, Iran's most powerful ally? The president bringing American CEOs to Beijing to sit down with the Chinese as that bruising trade war between both nations continues. Plus, we'll show you how China's investments in AI, robots, and EVs are shaping its goal for global economic dominance and the future of technology. But China is facing headwinds as the youth of this massive nation are finding it difficult to land a job, leading to a social media movement called Lie Flat, sending a message to China's communist government that they see their future here at a standstill. And we'll take you to the Great Wall of China, what archaeologists have just discovered there. And from the Great Wall, we go to the Great Firewall. We'll show you how China, with its hundreds of millions of surveillance cameras and new apps, track everything you do, from walking to shopping to what you're reading and writing. A surveillance state that is constantly watching and censoring.
So how are the Chinese insulting Trump? I'm getting there. But what that clip didn't mention was that Trump's illegal actions in attacking Iran, not to mention his ever-shifting excuses for doing so, have emboldened the Chinese and Xi to want to take over Taiwan. That's the semi-independent region of China that adopted democracy and where leadership fled amid the communist revolution. China has long thirsted to take over Taiwan and further exert regional dominance. So, in other words, Trump is really not setting himself up for success, and those tech CEOs he packed in his overhead bin may regret accompanying him on his visit. Unless, of course, they're selling surveillance software, in which case the Chinese will love them. Moving on. Trump touched down in Beijing earlier this morning and expected the usual state welcome in which President Xi would meet him as he disembarked Air Force One. Well, guess what? That didn't happen. Take a look. Notice who didn't show up there. President Xi. Why is that a big deal? Because for a summit this important and for a state visit from the American president, Xi should want to get off on the proverbial right foot. Not to mention, Trump is easily manipulated with flattery. For Xi to spurn both of these formalities is a major insult to Trump. It's like he's of no consequence to his own meeting. Xi knows what he wants, he plans to get it, and he will do so without needing Trump for anything. This is how marginalized Trump has made the United States. Can you think of any other country in the world that would snub a president this way? Can you imagine the US ever doing this to a foreign leader, especially one as important as Xi? Of course not. Remember when Trump invited Russian President Vladimir Putin to Alaska? Which, I hear Alaskans are still trying to disinfect their soil after that one. When Trump met Putin, who is nowhere near as pivotal as Xi, there was a red carpet rolled out and no expense spared. And this is how China now views the United States. Inconsequential, ineffectual, and led by a buffoon. And no matter what you think of Xi or the Chinese, they are correct on that last point. Thus, this edition of Jackass China Summit Edition begins, though don't count on it being as funny as the original show. That said, if President Xi does want to recreate the poo-poo cocktail by locking Trump in a used porta potty, shaking it about on a crane, and then pouring him out, I'll sell tickets. This is the David Reddish Show.